What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Anthony and this is Watch With Me. Today we're going to be doing a review of my favorite vintage watch. It is my Breitling Navitimer 806. I've owned it for quite a while now. I would say at least 4 or 5 years. It is my favorite vintage watch. This video is going to be a little bit of history of the watch, how I bought it, why I bought it, and why I love it. Before we get into that part of the video, I just want to say two things. One, those of you that have subscribed in the last few videos, I really appreciate it. I gained something like 30 subscribers in the last couple weeks, and it really means a lot to me. We're almost at 300. We're on our way to 500, where we'll be doing a giveaway. Not 100% sure on what I'm going to be giving away, but it's going to be something pretty cool. I think you guys will all enjoy. And the other thing is, of course, a wristwatch check. And today I am wearing my Panerai 312. This is the second time I've owned this watch. A unique story behind it, but it's in one of my other videos. If you guys care, I'll leave a link down below and you can hear all about it. Enough of that, let's get into the review. So first of all, for those of you that are maybe seeing this video for the first time and don't know the rest of my videos, I work in the watch industry, and I've actually worked in the past for Breitling for a total of 5 years, so I have a special place for Breitling in my heart. I was working for the company for a few years and learning more about Breitling and its history. Nothing is more iconic for the brand than the Navitimer. The Navitimer came out in 1952, which actually makes it older than the Rolex Daytona, which came out officially as the name Rolex Daytona in the 1960s. The Rolex chronograph was around the mid-1950s, 1955, and even older than the Omega Speedmaster, which came out in 57. So we're talking about a very iconic watch here with a very unique look, very important to watchmaking and the brand. So I decided to go ahead and pick up this watch. Now, some unique features about this watch. Many of you might not know, but not the Navitimer, but that Cosmonaut, which is 809 reference, was the first chronograph ever worn in space. It actually beat the Speedmaster into space by a total of 6 months. So that was worn by Scott Carpenter. And if you're in the New York City area, go to the Breitling Boutique located on 57th Street. On the second floor, they have a vintage museum. You can take a look at that watch. Very cool, makes it even more iconic. My particular piece is from the 1960s. I purchased it off eBay. I did pay around $3,000. The reason why I like mine so much is it's a reverse panda dial. But I spoke with the person who bought my watch, and he bought it from the original owner and gave me the whole rundown of the watch and why it is the way it is. So this watch actually had a decent amount of water damage done to it in the early 1960s. So when it was sent back to Breitling, it had a hand change and a dial change. That's why it doesn't have the syringe style hands, and it has a reverse panda dial, but it still has the beads of rice bezel, which is correct for that time period. But I actually have the original dial, which was the all black dial with the AOPA logo up at top. This is a travel pouch I purchased from Noble and Graff. Really cool work. They do some limited edition runs with some hand painting on it. Obviously Mo from The Simpsons, which is hilarious, and I think just the character itself pops on this. But that is not what the video is about. The video is about this beautiful early 1960s Breitling Navitimer. So this one in particular, as I said, I purchased secondhand, and you can see this has the reverse panda all black dial with the AOPA logo up at 12 o'clock. I love the fact that the watch doesn't have Breitling on the dial. They have the AOPA logo right up at top. Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. So not the norm for today. Most companies would never not put their logo on the watch, and here we are in the 1960s. They appreciate that partnership so much that they lose their logo and put that logo up at top. You can see the tritium is falling through the hands, but it's held up pretty well. This watch actually, so there was water damage in the early 1960s. This actual piece, I believe, is from the late 50s, but it had a different dial. It had the all black dial, no contrasting subdials, and it had the syringe style hands. Now at the time, when they had the water damage and they went to change out the dial and hands, what they did was they changed it to what was correct for the year. So they kept the beads of rice bezel, but they changed the hands and they changed the dial. So this is actually correct for the year. It's a transitional model. The only thing that's not correct is there should be no red markers on the slide rule, the 60 and the 10. But I think it looks unbelievable, and for the price I paid, you really can't beat it. The beads of rice bezel is pretty rare, and I think it just offers a really unique look to the watch. I put it on this beautiful crown and buckle suede strap, which looks perfect on a true aviation watch. Measurements are really nice. It fits the wrist really well, and it's just everything you would want in a vintage watch. It has the look of the tritium aging, turning to that pink color, and it has the panda dial. It's a perfect watch in my opinion, and that's why it's still relevant today and still selling well from a brand like Breitling. For those you don't know, the reason why the newer watches come out with the aged lume, the reason they do that is because when, as you can see, when you use tritium or even older radium, it was radioactive, and when the watch the lume would eventually die out and would stop glowing, it would age and turn this pink color. And that's why they use that pink color now for modern day watches. This is a Venus 188 movement. If you do happen to find a Navitimer with the Valjoux 72 movement, you will end up paying the premium on it. They're usually several $1,000s more. Unless you purchase it on Hodinkee, then they're tens of $1,000s more because they always charge a premium because you're buying it from Hodinkee. But that's really it, guys. This is my Navitimer 806, and I'll throw it on the wrist for you so we can get an idea of how it fits. I think it looks really good on my wrist. I have a much smaller wrist. My wrist is just under 6.5 inches, but you can see for a modern day watch, you really can't beat it. It fits the wrist really well. It doesn't look out of place like some of my other vintage watches that are 34 millimeters. I think this wears extremely well. And like I said, for $3,000 to $4,000, why go and spend $8,000 to $9,000 on the reissue that Breitling's releasing when you can get the real thing for a fraction of the price? So one of the reasons I love the Navitimer so much, other than its aesthetics and the kind of history I have with Breitling, is that it's so iconic and so important to watchmaking. So the Navitimer, it's so iconic because of its slide rule, which is essentially just a calculator that's put onto the dial of the watch. This watch was actually used to figure out fuel consumption, altitude, and conversions as well. So completely revolutionary for the watch industry at the time. And I like the fact that this watch was designed not to be something fancy, not to be something luxury, but this was a real tool watch. That's why it was made at 41 millimeters, which I think fits so well even today. It was meant to be oversized, so as you were flying and you had your flight gloves on, you can actually use the watch and be able to read it. So it was a completely useful tool that was used quite often, and that's why the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association made it its official watch. If you're looking for a 1960s Omega or Daytona, I mean, you're spending much, much more, and I don't think they're any more iconic than the Navitimer. Thank you so much for watching my video, guys. That's really all I got for the Navitimer 806. I like to really keep my reviews between 5 and 10 minutes. I know for myself, when I'm watching a review of a watch, I don't really like to sit there for 20-25 minutes. Leave a comment down below. What do you think of my Navitimer? Is it something you would consider buying? Do you want it in your collection, or do you think that it's just too busy? I'd love to know how you feel about the watch. Let me know if you're enjoying the videos. If you are, give it a like. It helps me out. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We are doing a giveaway at 500 subscribers. But that's it, guys. Until next time, take it easy.